Hello, Jared and Triana. My name is Pat, and I'm one of the construction managers for Epic up here at Anthem. And today is Wednesday, October 14th, and we're going to do a little walk around pre-drywall video for you. And hopefully this will cover everything. And if you have any questions or issues, just get in touch with Kyle, and we can walk or talk through anything or address anything. So we're going to start general information, then we're going to walk around the exterior of your home, then go inside and walk every room, talk about all electrical and plumbing and mechanical, and I'm preparing to go to rough inspections beginning tomorrow, the 15th of October, and then we move forward from there. So today, Wednesday, I've got this little cheat sheet that I'm going to show you that I use, and this is your address, 3349 West 154th Avenue. We're going to look at the grading and drainage, gutters and downspout locations on your home, window grids, electrical locations, low volt, security, pre-wire, plumbing, mechanical, change orders. We can't allow any change orders from today forward because everything has been ordered for your house and everything is in process. And then we'll talk just briefly about the projected schedule. Any items that I may spot as we're walking through, I'm going to jot them down, and then Kyle will have a copy of this for you, or you'll see it on the video up on YouTube. So we're going to start this morning on the outside. A little bit windy this morning, so bear with us as we make our way around. The terrain's a little steep and rough right now. We got a lot going on your home. We're working the exterior masonry, where we have 3 different types of applications. We've got siding, wood siding, we've got stone masonry, and we have stucco masonry. Yesterday, Tuesday, we passed our city inspection on the masonry lath. So the city comes out and they look at how we staple everything off, how we fasten everything, make sure it's correct, and then we can move forward. Well, we passed our lath inspection yesterday, and if you were out last weekend, you can see that we were deep in the throes of installing that lath. So with that said, you have selected a, I believe it's, to me it's a model 3380, and I can't recall what the sales name is of that. It might be an Ascend. Anyway, and you've selected also, or we have chosen for you, is a better term, a modern prairie elevation. On the modern prairie elevation, there are no window grids. You're going to see some window grids on your neighbors' houses, but any elevation that's a modern prairie, which has stone and stucco, you'll see no window grids. They're all clear windows. First thing we're going to look at is this is your plot plan, and this shows your house on the lot, the exterior or the outside footprint of your home sitting on the lot. This shows you've got this huge yard here on the side facing Irving, and you're right on the cusp of 154th Avenue. Your address is the first one as 154th Avenue. Right there is our cutoff. A lot of information on here: square footages, slopes, percentages of grade that I need to achieve when we fine grade, and we'll begin that process after all masonry is applied. And so we're a couple weeks out from starting to grade the lot. A lot of information here. There is a legend or a key that gives you information how to read this, but the few little things, this little stop sign symbol, that's a number of steps to and from, in and out of your home. So for example, from the front porch, there's 1 step up to the main entry. In the garage, there's 4 steps up to the owner's entry. In the back, there's 1 step down to the back deck, right here, down to the back deck, and 1 step down to the patio in the basement. We'll be looking at this. So we're going to walk the exterior today first, and then we'll move inside. But this plot plan, a lot of information on here. These numbers are top of foundation, walkout, top of foundation. Those are elevations, and those are real elevations, and the FF is your finished floor. So as you're sitting at your dining table, you'll be sitting at 5,406 feet above sea level, is what that represents. Again, the plan, 50-foot wide product, a 3380 plan. So that's the general information here. As we look at things, there are dimensions which are in tenths of feet. For example, there's a 16-foot side setback from the corner of the garage to your property line. That's 16.0 feet. All of these X's are elevations, vertical elevations that tell us what we need to achieve in our grading plan. So this is how your house looks on the lot from an aerial view. In the back are pedestals, electric and low volt pedestals, Comcast, CenturyLink, and you'll see your neighbor's lot behind you kind of mirrors a little bit with their side yard, just as yours is. So with that said, we're going to walk around the outside. Another thing that I carry with me, Jared and Triana, is I have your cabinet layouts. I'll just talk just briefly about that when we're in the kitchen. I have your appliances selections that you selected: double oven, dishwasher, cooktop, reefer, freezer. These are your standard options you've selected. There are no NSOs on your house, or non-standard options. I have your electric mini, and we're going to look at all of the additional electric items that you've selected. Also, what I carry with me, there's the loft, the upstairs, and then the third page is the basement, which will be the last place we go. And then I have your low volt or I-wire diagram, which tells me where you requested all of your low volt installations. And we'll look at each of those locations as we move through the house as well. So first, we're just going to walk around the outside. And like I mentioned, it's a little bit windy this morning, so bear with me. And hopefully the sound won't be too badly interrupted. But as we move, my partner's going to follow me. We're going to look at the front entry of your home. And as you can see in the front here, we've got masonry and stucco lath. The masonry or the stone is below the white. That is a stucco band that wraps above the garage door, under the eaves. That's a stucco band. Below the stucco is stone, and then it's stucco above. The columns on the front porch are stucco, and we'll be fabricating the stucco cap that sits on the center column. Now also on the front porch, I'll be installing metal railing from column to column to column, and then returning to the house up on the front porch. We've got everything open right now. This week we'll be finishing stocking the roof tile. I had a roof inspection this week, which we passed. They look at all of our penetrations, make sure we have everything installed correctly. But we had that inspection, and we'll finish loading the roof tile. And we're going to begin applying the base coat of stucco. Now you're going to see it sit gray for a little while, because on stucco we need to let the adhesion coat or the base coat of the stucco sit for 7 days before we can apply the color coat. It needs to thoroughly dry because it's a very wet product when applied, and we need 7 days for it to cure, and then we'll apply the color coat. So no damp spots show through the color coat is the reason for that. The masonry, we'll be installing the base coat on the masonry on the stone as well, and then the stone will go up right behind. So you can see on the front elevation here, we got no window grids. I do have rough gutters on. You can see up on the upper level, that's a downspout location that'll come down the sidewall, dump on the garage roof, go over to the west. That'll be a downspout on the corner of the house going to grade. Front porch drains over to this side. I don't have that gutter on yet because I would damage it with all of the roof access that we have to do. But up on the top, that drains down all the way down to the ground, the high roof. And then I'll show you the others as we move around. So as we move around to the east side, you can see I'm kind of using your lot as a storage facility right now for all the materials for your house, plus the neighbor landscaper who's working behind had all this material delivered, and I can't store it all on the street because they couldn't even get a fire truck down the road. So I'm allowing him for very short term to store on the corner of your lot, and then when he's finished, he'll clean everything up, and we'll be grading that out. But because I'm a couple weeks away from grading your lot, I'm allowing him to store some extra materials on there as he's using them and landscaping the two homeowners behind you. So as we move around, you can see we're totally scaffolded. As we move down the side, this is the east side. I'm going to point out the penetrations that are coming through the wall so you know what those are. You see here I have a white PVC pipe coming out of the wall, and that is the ejection pipe for the sump pump, one of the sump pumps in your basement. And I'll show you that when we get to the basement. But this will have an elbow turned down to grade and drain to grade. You can see the stone, we've sloped stone with the grade. The finish grade raises up a little bit, probably about 1 foot to 1.5 foot, and then it'll slope down per the grading plan. We've got the front hose bib here. Then we got another copper tee, and that is the sprinkler or irrigation tee right below in the ground. This is where we will put the valve box for the landscape irrigation. Got 2 vents here. Those are the water heater vents. One is intake and one is exhaust. No other penetrations in this general vicinity, but right here, this is where the 2 air conditioning condensing units will sit. One for the upper floor. You have 2 air conditioners. One that services the upper floor, the other one services the main floor and the basement. This is the exhaust and intake vents for the furnace. We've got a 220 line coming out for power for the air conditioners, and this is a 110 service outlet. As you can see, as we move down to the corner, the back corner, we've got your main power distribution here. This is your main disconnect breaker panel. So we'll put what we call the heavies, or the heavy circuits. We'll have some of the, we've got a sub panel here where all your main circuitry will be breakered, your lights, your outlets, things like that. In here will be double oven, air conditioning, dryer, all 220 circuits plus some 110s, probably furnace, things like that, some GFI circuitry. Then all the general lighting and outlets will be in the sub panel. So this is your main power distribution area. That's where your electric meter goes. This conduit here is low volt or Comcast Xfinity. When you order service, we have underground laterals coming to here, so they'll tie to the pedestal in the rear of your lot. This is your low volt wiring coming out, and this is what they will tie into. So we have cable and internet here. There'll be a distribution box located here. That's a ground wire for the low volt. So that's the extent of the penetrations on this side. As we move around to the back, you can see we've got your deck stairs on. We'll be grading this, compacting, and pouring a concrete slab at the base of the stairs. All the columns get masonry, and it's stone lap that's going up, so the rear columns will be stone all the way up to that deck cover. Inside or on the patio, we've only got a couple of penetrations. One is for a coach light or patio light right here, and then a waterproof outlet below, so you have power on the back patio. And as you can see, the deck, this is an exterior grade glulam beam, so it's built to withstand weather. And then we got treated joists with a composite decking on top. If this stays open just like this, and you can see we take the masonry all the way up to the bottom of the deck. We'll move around to the rest of the back. As I mentioned, the modern prairie elevation gives 3 types of exterior cladding. This is one wall that gets wood siding all the way up, so that'll be painted per your color scheme. Masonry columns. This is all stone masonry all the way up to the second level, so up to that soffit on the main level. Then it's stucco up on the top outside of the bathroom. Got one penetration here, and that's a bath fan for the basement bathroom. That's what that vent is for, is the bath fan. Down low, we've got another sump pump ejection pipe in your house. In walkout lots, we put 2 sump pits and sump pumps, and then the rear hose bib or rear faucet. Move up the west side. We've got no electrical options, no camera, 3 wires, low volt. You see we've got a combination of masonry and siding on this side. That soffit is loose because I'm going to be taking that down. It's called a cantilever, where something comes out from the house. And that's living space up in the master bedroom and bathroom area. And I have to fully insulate that cantilever so that we can maintain that warmth in your bathroom. So that piece of soffit or siding material will come down. Right now it's just temporarily attached so that we can get a true line for everything. We put it up there as just a guide, but we'll be taking that down, and when we insulate your house, we're putting a fabric netting below that, totally full of insulation to get a good R30 plus in that cantilever floor. Exterior vent here, dry adhesion. This is the vent from the bathroom in the basement. This is the gas meter location on this side. So this pipe is the gas pipe. This is where the gas meter will be. After we have inspections this week, and the city then will release the gas piping okay to XL Energy, and then they'll come out and set the gas meter. As we move back around front, we've got two coach lights, one on either side of the garage. And just so you know, I'm going to be raising those up about a foot. I placed them inadvertently, I placed them too low, but those boxes will move up about a foot before I get the stucco on. Garage door, I just got word that the garage door will be installed the end of this month. Our garage door lead times have pushed out to almost 6 weeks, just for lack of raw materials. We've got some real supply chain issues in many areas, which I'll speak to in a little bit. But garage doors, I should have my garage door in normal circumstances already, but there's been a supply chain issue on the raw materials for the garage doors. So they're running almost about 6 week lead time. And the end of this month will be, I just got notification they should be installing about the end of the month. So here we are inside the garage, two-car tandem garage. You haven't opted for any additional electric in here, but what we do from a standard wiring standpoint is we have power on all three walls of the garage, so it's both sides and the back wall. This is power outlet here. The other thing we do standard is we have in front of the beam here, we have a ceiling light. We have another ceiling light behind the beam, and we have a power outlet up on top for garage door opener, and low volt wiring going down to both sides of the garage door for the sensors. So we got power on 3 walls, service outlets on 3 walls, and ceiling. So we're going to move right into the owner's entry, and as you can see outside the owner's entry door here, there are 2 switches. One is for the ceiling lights in the garage, obviously. The other is 3-way switch for the coach lights on the front of the garage. And what I mean by 3-way is you can operate it from 2 locations. Why it's called 3-way, I don't know. But you can operate on or off from the owner's entry and from the front entry, which I'll point out when we get there. This is the garage door opener, low volt wire, and ceiling lights. So as we move into the owner's entry, as you come in, that door will swing in. We've got a light switch here. Now we wire every house very logically, and that is when you enter a space, you could turn on a light ahead of yourself. When you exit the space or leave the space, you can turn off behind yourself. You don't have to cross anywhere to turn on or off a light. So as we move into the owner's entry, we've got the light switch here, and that's for the overhead lights. We have 2 recessed cans in the overhead entry, and you're going to hear me say this through our video, is those I call them traveling lights. As I travel through a space, I've got traveling lights ahead of me and turn them off behind myself. This is your pre-wire for security keypad, as you requested. We've got service outlets in the owner's entry on the walls, 2 outlets on the walls. We have a closet and a pantry. So inside of each, there's a light switch with a recessed can in the ceiling. So as we move through toward the kitchen and the pantry, recessed can and light switch in the pantry, a switch to turn off the traveling lights behind yourself, and then turning on ahead of yourself the recessed cans in the kitchen area. And here we come into the kitchen area. We'll talk about this space first, then we're going to pause and move to the front entry. But we've got lights on ahead of ourselves. You can see we've got recessed cans in the ceiling. We've got one over the workspace at the, this is the cooktop. This is the power for the vented hood that we'll be installing. You've requested all outlets be horizontally mounted at 38.5 off the floor. So we have power outlets around the kitchen, mounted horizontally. On my left of the cooktop, we've got a big wire sticking out of the wall. That is for the double oven. This is the 220 power for the double oven. We move over, we've got countertop space, cooktop, We've got gas and electric run for the cooktop. Again, horizontal outlets around. We've got corner cabinetry and horizontal outlets all the way over the top of these cabinets. Now you haven't selected under cab lights, so you don't see any wires sticking out of the wall, or I would explain that. At your island location, this is the sink location. We've got a work light, recessed can right over the sink. The sink centers with the range. We've got base cabinets on your left, and we've got dishwasher on your right. Underneath the sink, you'll see some wires and different plumbing pipes here. We've got power and drain. We've got water for the dishwasher, water for the sink. We've got a drain for dishwasher and sink. We've got power for to plug in the garbage disposal in the dishwasher. Also, this wire is for the switch for the disposal. The switch for the disposal will be inside of the sink cabinet. On the end of the islands, I have two yellow wires strung here. There will be an outlet on this end, and that will install tomorrow. We'll terminate the wires on both ends. So this is your kitchen island. Also, as I stand in the dining area and looking back at your kitchen, and you can see that we have everything centered. We have your cooktop, the hood, lighting, and then your three pendant lights are also all centered on the cooktop, on the workspace, and on the island. And then we evenly spaced the pendant lights over the island. We take the full width of the island, divide by 3 with a center point, and everything is spaced equally. Recessed cans around the perimeter of the kitchen for lighting, general lighting. And then dining fixture is centered in the dining space. And I'm going to take my paper clips off and get to my electric mini. Pardon my delay. Now the switch for the pendants, according to your electric mini, you've got 3 pendants here centered on that island, and you've asked for that switch to be right over here. Now we have 4 switches on this wall, and one is for the pendant lights. The other is for the dining fixture, which we center on this large window, the big 5-foot window, and we center again with the island, with the kitchen sink, with the cooktop. So the dining fixture is centered with the kitchen and also on the center of the big window in the dining room, which is generally a pretty perfect location. Got surface outlets around the room, service outlets. This wall here is your, this is a cabinet wall with outlets above countertop. And then we have a refrigerator freezer, side-by-side refrigerator freezer. Reefer left, freezer right, and water box for the freezer and refrigerator. Power, because we have an above cabinet microwave. This is the microwave power. It's in our upper cabinets. Right. Okay. The appliances you've selected obviously are the microwave, the refrigerator, the freezer, the dishwasher. We have with a trim kit, we have a gas range and a hood and a Danby beverage center, which that goes to the wet bar. So I'll show you that when we get downstairs. So moving out of the kitchen, I had mentioned we've got 4 switches here. So one is for the pendant lights over the island. The other is for the dining light. Then we have a 3-way switch for the kitchen cans. You remember when we entered, it turns on the kitchen recessed cans as we enter the owner's entry. Well, you can turn it on or off from here as well. Then we have a hall light, which this is another traveling area. We've got a smoke detector and recessed cans in the traveling area, and that's another 3-way switch from the entry. So we can turn it on at the front entry and then off when you get to the kitchen area. The switches on the stairs are for the 3-way going up the stairs. We've got lights and we have step lights. They're both on three-way switches, so when we get upstairs, they'll show you the off sides or the ons, whichever way you're coming. So we got step lights, and we have high lighting in the stairwell. So as we move to the grand room, see here's your pad, here's your back deck, and we've got a switch here for the recessed cans in the deck cover. We've got 2 recessed cans. Also next to the door, we also have a waterproof outlet on this outside wall. So any service that you would like to do out here, there's power out here. So we have 2 recessed cans, no low volt wiring requested out here, but so this is your rear deck. Grand room or great room. We've got service outlets all around the room. Your requests here in this room from electrical standpoint, above the fireplace at 75 inches, or at 85 inches, you've requested power. Also from the low volt standpoint, we have a CP location, which is phone data, cable, satellite, everything coming to this location above the fireplace, and you've requested that to be 85 inches off the floor. This side we have a niche. On the side wall of the niche is a switch, and this is the switch that operates the fireplace. Down low in the niche we have outlet, service outlets around the room. Up in the high ceiling we have 4 recessed cans placed per your diagram, which are centered on windows and room. Also, we have a ceiling fan pre-wire dead center of room. Standard feature of Epic's. The switches for the grand room are just off the owner's entry here. And as you enter the grand room, we've got a switch for the ceiling fan pre-wire. We've got a switch for the recessed cans, and we have a switch for a half hot. In every room, we put a 1/2 switch outlet. And it's generally across the room 45 degrees from where we put the switch. So this outlet over here will, when we finish, it'll be upside down. And half of that outlet operates from the switch, and the other is a constant. The other half is constant on. So we've got service outlets all around the room, 4 recessed cans, ceiling fan pre-wire. We've got an outlet above the fireplace, and a glass break. This from the low volt side, this is the glass break. If any of these grand room windows or the patio door happen to crash, or this pre-wire for the glass break will pick up any of the glass break in this great area. To the left of the fireplace is what's called the kids studio, and as we enter the kids studio, we got switches on our left. We've got 2 switches as we enter the kids studio. We've got a ceiling light pre-wire per your request, plus a half hot outlet across the room. And this one we put out in this corner, just from a furnishing standpoint, this works better here. Also in the kids studio, this gets a barn door standard right here. You can see all the blocking above here. That's to mount the barn door hardware. So this barn door will slide this way, open and close. That's why the switches are here. So when the barn door opens, light switch is here. As we move back to the foyer, or front entry, I'm going to show you out on the front porch. We have some light switches here to the left of the door, which I'll talk more about in a moment. But out on the front porch, we've got recessed cans in the porch cover, 4 of them, excuse me. 4 lights, 4 recessed cans. We also have a waterproof outlet on the wall. So inside the entry, there are 3 switches here. And one is for, as I mentioned, from the owner's entry or from the main entry, you can turn on and off the coach lights on the front of the garage. So one of them is for the coach lights. The other is for the front porch lights, all 4 recessed cans. And the other is for our front entry traveling lights. So these recessed cans in the foyer will turn on with the other switch. 3-way switch for you to turn off those traveling lights as you exit the foyer. Here we are in the study. This is going to be an opening for future double doors if need be. 2 switches as you come into the room. One is for the ceiling light pre-wire per your request, and the other is for the half hot across the room. And that is on this wall right here, on the kids' studio adjoining wall. So in the study we have a ceiling light pre-wire, and in the kids' studio we have a ceiling light pre-wire as well. Moving back to the foyer, we've got a coat closet behind the front door. This is the front entry coat closet, and then we have the powder room. As you enter the powder room, there are 2 switches. One is for the light above the sink, and one is for the fan above the stool. So we have sink and stool. Power outlet next to the sink. This is the width for the light that goes above the mirror. Again, very logical switching. As I mentioned earlier, we can turn off the traveling lights behind ourselves for the grand room, turn on the recessed cans, and also the other switches for the half hot across the room, or the half switched outlet. Pretty much covers the grand room. And we're going to move up the stairs. As I mentioned, we've got a ceiling light center of stairwell up high, and that's operated from below. Right outside the kitchen before you start up the stairs. You can operate the ceiling light or the step lights coming up. So we have 1 step light mid-stair, 2 on the landing, and 1 mid-stair again. Now this half wall between the stairs, this will be a drywall with a wood cap on top, and the handrail will go on the side of it. So your handrail coming up. This is open rail on the top. This will have open railing, and then open railing at this top of this stair. This is blocked off here. Anywhere that has these 2x4s, that gets an open rail. So it'll be a newel post to wall, wood cap with handrail on the side, newel post with open rail, stopping at the wall. That's how this top of loft finishes. Also, open rail from this upper hall into the grand room. This will have open rail. At the top of the stairs, we've got 3 switches here. One is to turn off the overhead light in the stairwell behind yourself. The other is to turn off the step lights behind yourself, or on if you're going down. And the third is to turn on the travelers, which are above us. Turn on the lights in the hallway. There's smoke detector and traveling lights, recessed cans. Then we get into the loft area. There are 2 switches here. In the loft, we've got 1 for the recessed cans in the ceiling. You've requested 4 recessed cans, spaced evenly, which are in, and they're in correctly. Also, the other switch is for the half switched outlet across the room, and that's on this wall here. That'll be the front wall. So we've got service outlets all around the room. White pipe coming up through the wall, marked vapor. I'll talk a little bit more about that down in the basement. But these are all drywall wrapped openings. This is all drywall wrapped. Ceiling plane comes through. The overlook to the grand room. And then this is full photovoltaic conduit and a low volt conduit, which I'll speak to in a little bit. So we've got the traveling lights on ahead of ourselves, whether we are going to the master or to the laundry and secondary rooms. There's traveling lights ahead, and there's a method or a way to turn those lights on or off behind yourself, whether you're at the master suite or the secondary area. So as we move through, we're going to go to the secondary bedrooms first. So we got traveling lights on ahead of us, smoke detectors outside of every sleeping area, and then this is the switch to turn the lights off behind yourself. As we move into bedroom number 3, door swings to the left. There are 2 switches on the right-hand side. One is for the ceiling light pre-wire you've requested. The other is for the half-switched outlet across the room. We've got double doors to the closet area with rod and shelf service outlets around the room. Then you come into what is fondly referred to as a Jack and Jill bath. And there's a light switch right inside, which will turn on 2 lights over the 2 sinks. We've got power outlets above each sink, move into the tub shower combination room, there are two switches inside. One is for the recessed can over the tub shower, and the other is for the fan in the bathroom. Now we'll walk into bedroom 2. And as you come into the bedroom door, we'll swing against the wall. There's two switches. One is for ceiling light pre-wire you've requested. The other is for the half-switched outlet across the room. You have not requested any low-volt wiring in the upstairs bedrooms or hallway. The only low volt on the second floor is in the master, which we'll get to in a moment. So as we leave the bedrooms 2 and 3 hallway, we can turn that light on ahead of ourselves again, the traveling, and we're going to walk to the laundry area. So we're going to take a left here. This door swings into the hallway. We've got a light switch to turn on traveling lights ahead of yourself. We've got a storage closet on the left. We also have the upstairs mechanical room. Now this is the furnace air handler, which services just the top floor, just the sleeping areas. So this whole furnace and one of the air conditioning units outside services just the top floor. All of the supplies and returns are in the ceiling. You'll see no wall registers. So as we move into the laundry, we've got the laundry all set up here. As you come in, there are two switches. One is for the overhead light, and the other is for the fan. We got washing machine on the left. You'll see a pipe coming through the floor. That's for a laundry pan, and that's a drain going all the way down to the basement, which I'll point out to you when we get to the basement. Then we got the dryer, 220 outlet with dryer vent going up, and that directly vents up through the roof. And we've got a laundry tub location here with power outlets above countertop height. And we have a 3-way switch. So if you're leaving the laundry going into what is the master closet, you can turn off lights behind yourself. As we enter the master closet from the laundry, light switch to turn on the overhead lights above yourself. This will all have rods and shelves. Also in the master closet in this plan, this is where we locate the attic access. And you'll be able to see, this is the access to the attic, and as you open the attic access panel, there's a pull chain with a light and a service outlet located up in the attic for any service that you may want to do, or if you need additional power, that circuit's available up there for service. So we've got a light and a service outlet up in the attic. This will drop down, there'll be a flush cover there, and it finishes off nicely. So a 3-way switch to turn the lights off behind yourself. Now we're moving into the master bathroom. I think we're gonna pause and we're gonna enter the master suite from the upstairs hallway to get the full effect of the master. Okay, I'm standing in the upper loft area and we're getting ready to enter the master suite. So as we enter the master suite, there's the foyer, and this switch here is to turn the traveling lights off behind yourself. Entering the master suite, there are 3 switches around the corner. One is for the recessed cans. Excuse me. One is for the ceiling fan pre-wire. The other is for the half-switched outlet across the room. Also, you've requested an outlet on the adjoining to the master bathroom wall, an outlet at 72, plus we have a low volt CP6 CP pre-wire here, which is the phone data and cable pre-wire. So those are locations in the master. No other additional electric other than we've got a half hot across the room. And that happens to be over here toward behind the bathtub area. So we've got switch to turn lights off, the traveling light ahead of yourself in the sitting area. One is for the ceiling fan pre-wire, and the other is for the half-switched outlet. The blue box in the ceiling is a smoke detector. So then as we enter the master bathroom area, we have got 4 switches as you enter the master bathroom area. We've got a switch to turn on recessed cans ahead of yourself, a switch to turn on the vanity lights. One is for the shower recessed can, and the other is for the lights over the tub. And we have a fan. The fan is separate, so you're not accidentally turning on and off the fan with these switches. These are all lights, and this is the fan switch. So as we enter the master bathroom area. We've got the shower, which has got a glass panel, glass door, and this gets a solid surface on top of the wall with a glass panel, all enclosing the shower. Shower head, we've got 84 inches high. It's where we plumb these standards so that it's above everybody's head. Stationary tempered windows, seat in the shower. Master stool room with the door closing it off. Inside there are two switches. One's for the light, recessed can, and the other's for the fan in the stool room. As I mentioned, as you enter, you could turn the his and her lav or sink lights on. Above each sink, centered, is a light fixture, and we've got a power outlet next to above the countertop on each lav. This side, power for light above the mirror, and power outlet next to the sink. As I also mentioned, at the entrance, we've got two recessed cans over the master tub. And that is switched from the entrance as well. Got a small operable window in the corner of the bathtub area if you need fresh air or you want to vent a little bit without turning the fan on, a little bit quieter sometimes, but nice view looking out the master tub area. No additional wiring or lighting up here. No additional low volt other than the CP6 up high in the master bedroom. So we're going to exit the master, and we're going to turn on lights, turn off lights behind ourselves, and then we're going to head down the basement. So we're going to pause, and we're going to head down the basement. We're going to head down the basement. As you come in, as you open the basement door, there's one light switch on the wall, and that's to turn on the light, which is located centered on the stair landing as we come down. There's a switch at the bottom of the stairs to turn that off behind yourself. So as you come downstairs, we've got overhead lights on. Come down the bottom, there'll be wall mount rails down the stair walls, and this gets a half rail. This is an open rail at the bottom, and then right around the bottom of the stairs, at the bottom of the stairs is a three-way switch to turn off the light behind yourself. As we move around to the rec room area, we've got three switches here. And what these switches are for is we've got recessed cans. We have got the half hot or the half switched. There's two half outlets. One is in this rec room area. The other one is in the other rec room area. So the recessed cans are on a three-way, and I'll show you that in a moment. So you could turn on all recessed cans in the rec room. And then we're going to move into the bedroom 4 area. As you come into the bedroom, there is a light to turn on ahead of yourself. Then there's a switch here. So move into the bathroom, two switches coming in the bathroom. One is for the light above the sink. The other is for the recessed can above the tub shower combination. Again, that shower head 84 inches off the floor, so plenty high. So we've got tub shower combination, stool, and lav with lights above the lav and the tub, and fan. Power outlet next to the sink. We've got a linen or storage closet outside the bedroom. Come into the bedroom, there are three switches. In this bedroom, you requested a ceiling light pre-wire centered. We also have recessed cans in this bedroom, standard, and we have a half switched outlet. Now this is a bench in this bedroom that we install, and it gets a wood top, it all gets drywalled, it gets a wood top. This is the rear or the low point on the lot. This is a sump location, sump pit. So there's a sump pit here. This is one of those white pipes that was protruding outside that I said it was an ejection pipe to the rear. We will be installing a sump pump in here, and this is the ejection pipe for the sump pump. There's power inside. There'll be a hinged wooden lid which lifts up and closes on here. This will be drywalled with a wood cap, so it creates a nice bench in this room. So we've got power outlets around the room, we've got recessed cans, we have a ceiling light pre-wire, and we have a great bench or decorating shelf or seating area. And then this lid operates to service the sump pump. Half switched outlet next to the sump. So as we move in, we've got a walk-in closet in the back, switch right inside the door for recessed can. There'll be rod and shelf in the closet. we'll exit the bedroom area and move back into the rec room. So again, you can turn off the lights behind yourself and the half pots ahead of yourself. There are 2 switches next to the sliding patio door, and one is for the outside light and the other is for the 3-way on the cans. So you can turn them on and off from 2 locations, the recessed cans. On the wall here, you requested a power outlet in the media room at 66 inches off the floor. Also, low volt pre-wire, a CP6, which is a pre-wire for cable and data. Location at 66 inches off the floor. Here we are in the wet bar area. And as we enter the wet bar area, there are 2 switches here. One is for the lighting in the wet bar area, the recessed cans, and the other is for the 2 pendant lights over the bar top. So we've got 2 pendant lights here over the bar top, standing at a sink, and we got power outlet on the end wall, power outlet underneath the high top. So we've got low countertop and then a seating or bar top higher. Power outlets in the back. This is the low volt wiring for the low volt panel, which goes on the opposite side. This is all the security pre-wire, which will go in the unfinished area as well. You can see on the back, we've got 3 power outlets above countertop. We've got the beverage center in the corner. This is where that mini fridge goes. Power is all set up for the beverage. Before we go into the mechanical room, I want to point out that we have this storage room underneath the stairs. There'll be a door on here. There is a light switch inside with a wall mount light fixture, but it's a nice storage area underneath the stairs. And we'll enter the mechanical areas. You come in the mechanical area, there's a light switch on your right hand side and it turns on overhead lights in the mechanical area. On your left hand wall is where the low volt panel will be installed, and this is where everything from your low volt pre-wire from all the rooms upstairs comes down and terminates in this panel, and then there's wires that go out to that service panel outside, like I mentioned. And this is all the security pre-wire for your keypad, your glass break, and the other items that we have pre-wired in the house. So back around the corner, this is where we have another, or the high point in the basement is another sump pit or sump pump. We'll be installing another sump pump. This is the power outlet for the pump, and this is the ejection pipe that I had mentioned goes out the side wall up toward behind the next to the front porch, and that's what this pipe is. It's the sump ejection. We have a booster pump here. This is the main water line coming into your house. So coming in from the street, we have a water line, and that's your water service line. We have a main shutoff. This is the pressure reducing valve, which is an adjustment to the house pressure. We have an isolation valve above it, booster pump, which up on top of this hill, all of our houses, we install a booster pump because the water pressure is just a little bit low. We want to make sure that you've got enough water pressure in your house, so we put what's called a booster pump, which boosts the pressure from a little bit low than standard to up to standard and above. We've got shutoffs here. As I had mentioned outside, this is the sprinkler tee going to the irrigation line. This is an anti-hammer arrestor, or if any air, a lot of times in irrigation lines, air gets in the lines and it causes some knocking or pounding. This prevents that from happening. Drain valve here for in the off season, you can drain back blow out your sprinkler system, drain valve here. Then we've got a main shutoff. This is your main water supply to the house. So this goes to the water heater and then branches off everywhere. So we got our water tree, our booster pump, which can be isolated for service. We got power for the booster pump right here. This white pipe is a vapor vent. Now inside of your basement, we run a complete interior drain system around the inside concrete walls of the entire basement. And that drain pipe is pitched to drain, so any water that collects from any percolation up from under the ground or any moisture, heavy moisture from outside, will go underneath the walls, collect in the drain, go to the main storm drain of the city. We tie into the storm system in the city, in the street, but also into the sump pits, and those are mainly backups. If the storm system backs up, we've got a backup system of our own inside, and that'll go into the sump pits. And on top of the interior drain system, we put a pipe which mounts right on top of the perforated pipe, and this vent pipe goes all the way through the roof. And this is underneath the concrete slab, we put a vapor barrier, or a plastic, heavy mill plastic vapor barrier before we pour this basement concrete. So any vapor or moisture that may collect in the ground or come up through the ground, any vapor or moisture, it automatically collects to the drain system, the perforated drain, and then naturally vents out through the roof. Moisture and humidity rise, so it naturally vents all the way out to the roof. And you'll see this word vapor written on a white pipe on all levels of your home, just so that we and everybody knows where that vapor pipe is. That vent pipe goes all the way up through the roof. So this, over in the other portion of the mechanical room, this is your furnace and water heater location. On this side is one of our main plumbing stacks. There's a clean out at the bottom. We'll be putting this on test today. We've been on test, but we'll be making sure that we hold test. We've got rough inspections beginning tomorrow from all plumbing, mechanical, and electric standpoint. We've got 50-gallon hot water heater. As I mentioned, these are the two vent pipes going out the side of your house. One's for intake, one's for exhaust. This is the furnace, which services the basement and the main living level. And the air handler, the air conditioning unit outside. These were the two white vent pipes, one for exhaust and one for intake. How this operates and service will be explained to you at your new home orientation. I had mentioned upstairs on the second floor at the laundry room location that there was a white pipe sticking out of the floor. Well, this is our laundry drain pipe. So we'll be installing a laundry pan at the washing machine location, and then anything that may happen from a washing machine, any water spills or anything like that, will go into the pan and then down the drain pipe down to the floor drain. The other white small pipes are the condensing lines from the furnace on the second floor and from the main furnace here. And that's just during cooling season, it collects some condensation and it drains down all the way to the floor drain. Power outlet for the furnace. This is the air conditioning lines coming in, gas feed. On the other side of the furnace, I want to point out this pipe sticking out of the floor, and I had mentioned something up on the main floor. We put in a conduit. It's called a photovoltaic conduit, and that's just a sleeve, so that in the event that you would ever want to install solar panels on your roof, your solar control panels and everything would be in this room, and this is a conduit. The cables or wires can run up into the attic, because underneath the solar panels they would need to make low volt wire connections to bring that down to this area. So we've got a photovoltaic conduit going all the way to the attic. Also, next to the low volt panel, we have another conduit, and this conduit goes all the way to the attic as well. So in the event you would ever want to add any low volt to maybe a bedroom upstairs, you want a cable run added, you could come out of your low volt panel, fish. There is a pull string inside this tube all the way to the attic. You could pull a cable all the way to the attic, run it over to a room down a wall, and put a hypothetical cable TV outlet in a room. So you got the capability to pull wire or pull something from two locations. This pipe goes all the way to the attic, and then the photovoltaic conduit runs all the way to the attic. So that pretty much wraps up the inside. I think I've covered everything. There's no additional electric you'd requested in the basement other than the ceiling light pre-wire in the bedroom and the outlet at 66 in the media room. No additional low volt in the basement other than the CP at the 66 in the media room. So that pretty much wraps up all your electrical and low volt options. I think I've got everything covered, but if you see something viewing this video or coming out and visiting us on the weekend, please don't hesitate to contact Kyle. So I'm going to wrap up here in the basement rather than walk outside. As I showed you in the beginning, we talked about grading and drainage. I showed you the gutter and downspout locations. We talked about the window grids. In your modern prairie elevation, there are no window grids. We looked at all the electrical locations throughout the house. We looked at all the low volt and security pre-wires that have been completed. We talked about the plumbing locations, the mechanical systems, and then the last item here is the projected schedule. I haven't seen anything to jot down on my paperwork, other than I am going to write down, I'm going to be raising, I did mention it on the outset, that I'm going to be raising the coach lights a little bit so that they look better on the front of the garage, and I'm writing that down. I'm going to raise the coach lights. But if there's anything you see or think of, or as you walk this weekend, please come out on the weekends and see us at any time. Come and walk your home. The more eyes on a home, the better we are. I can't catch it all, and even though I have a few coworkers, we may miss things at time. We depend on you as well. We want to make this the way you would like it. Now, talking about projected schedule, here I am, the middle of October. I'm going for rough inspections this week, which as I pass those inspections from all third parties and city or municipality inspectors, which are many, 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 I'll be moving to insulation. My projection is that by next week, the week of the 19th, I'll be moving to insulation and drywall stock. So by about the 25th of this month, I'll be in drywall. Now from that drywall stage, we generally gauge maybe 100 days plus or minus 100 calendar days. But right now we are trending, your house is trending toward the mid to end of January timeline for delivery. And I hope that works into your schedule. But Kyle will be keeping you updated weekly with how we're doing, how we're progressing. Every Monday I give him an update and tell him what the upcoming week's work is that's going to be happening in every house. So if you have any questions on the weekend, just ask him, because I update that on Friday night, so he has that information over the weekend to communicate with you on. You'll also see progress every week on your house, and I hope you have thus far. It hasn't sat at all. So we're trending right now to mid to end January, but that could be a plus or minus situation. But we'll keep you posted as we go. Now, I had mentioned at the onset that we're having some supply chain issues, and I need you to be aware of that. And that can affect the schedule greatly. We're having problems right now securing or procuring light fixtures, door hardware, bath hardware, tile that's coming from out of country. A lot of these products come from out of the country. Appliances, we're seeing great back orders on appliances. We're hoping that Builders Appliance Center has secured all of your appliances already and has them coming. But we're seeing some hiccups in that supply chain, and I need you to make aware of that, which is affecting some of our schedules on our homes, but not a great effect or not a great impact, but somewhat of an impact. And Kyle will keep you posted on those too. As we become aware, we keep Kyle up to date so that he can communicate with you. So that pretty much wraps up our virtual walkthrough today. But Jared and Triana, I really hope that I'm doing a good job on your home. Tell me if I'm not, because I'll make everything right or I'll make adjustments. I'm really trying to pay close attention to your home, and every week there's something else happening. Tell me if you see something. So with that said, this will be uploaded by the weekend to YouTube, and you'll be able to view this, but please come out this weekend and look at it too. We'll keep you posted how we do on rough inspections and moving to drywall hopefully next week. Thanks for your time.